boy or girl, male or female, pick one. But what if that's not enough? What if you were never meant to fit in the box they gave you? What if the very categories used to define you, man, woman, gay, straight, normal, abnormal, were designed not to reflect your truth but to control it? What if these boxes were never real to begin with? What if the borders we draw between identities, bodies, ways of being aren't natural but man made? What if the binary is not the truth but control? Let's begin by asking a simple radical question. What if gender isn't a box but a spectrum? Welcome back to the Personal Lens, where we explore the political through the personal. I'm your host, and today we are delving into an interesting topic. Let's start with the basics. In simple terms, the binary is a system that divides the world into two opposing, mutually exclusive categories: male, female, masculine, feminine, straight, gay, normal, other. This binary logic is foundational. It's how modern institutions are structured: bathrooms, dress codes, legal documents, even Google Forms. The assumption is pick a side. It's neat, it's tidy, it's also a lie. Because human life, especially gender and sexuality, is not neat. It's messy, fluid, diverse, beautifully complex. And yet we are told pick a side. From the day we are born, pink or blue, we are slotted into one of these two boxes. And then everything else follows: how we dress, how we behave, what careers we are encouraged to choose, whom we can love, how we are policed. The binary is so deeply embedded that we barely notice it anymore, but it's there in passports, bathrooms, school uniforms, hospital wards, and even toilets. But nature doesn't follow binaries, biology doesn't follow binaries, and people definitely don't. Let's take sex for example. We are taught that sex is either male or female, that your genitals define your destiny, but science tells us otherwise. Intersex people, those born with physical sex characteristics that don't fit typical definitions of male or female, exist. In fact, they make up about 1.7% of the population. That's roughly the same as redheads. Yet, most people don't even realize intersex is real because the binary has made it invisible. Doctors often perform non consensual surgeries on intersex infants to make them fit into one of the two boxes. Not for health reasons, but for social comfort. The binary must be preserved even at the cost of someone's autonomy. This isn't biology, this is control. Something we are told is obvious, natural, even God given: gender. In this episode, we are exploring what it means to live beyond the binary. We'll break down how our schools, laws, families, even our languages build walls around gender. From the moment we are born, gender is everywhere. The nurse looks between your legs and says it's a boy or it's a girl. And from there, the script begins. If you're a boy, you'll be told not to cry, to be tough. And if you're a girl, you'll be told to behave, to smile, to sit properly. But what if none of it fits? What if you're both or neither? Society doesn't like questions like that. We are told there are only two options, like it's a law of nature. But gender is not biology. And even biology isn't binary. Let's be clear here. Sex is about bodies, chromosomes, hormones, anatomy. Gender is about identity, how we see ourselves, how we move through the world. And even sex isn't clear cut. There are people born with variations in chromosomes, hormones, or anatomy. Intersex people, like we've already mentioned earlier, who don't fit neatly into male or female. That's not a disorder, it's diversity. But instead of celebrating that, we try to correct it, control it, hide it. Because anything that doesn't fit the binary threatens the system. But what if you don't fit either side? What if your truth lives in the in between? Historically, the binary has been weaponized to maintain power. It simplifies, it sorts, and more importantly, it excludes. As feminist philosopher Judith Butler argues, gender is not a fixed category but a performance shaped by social expectations. Yet, from birth, we are told it's a boy or it's a girl, and everything that follows from the color of your clothes to the tone of your voice is structured by that label. But what happens when that label becomes a cage? And here's something many people don't realize. One of the biggest myths is that gender binary is natural or universal. But here's a fact: many cultures across time and geography have recognized more than two genders. Hijras in South Asia, two spirit people in many indigenous North American communities, Bakla in the Philippines, Fafafin in Samoa. Long before the British arrived, South Asia had rich, diverse understandings of gender. Hijras, Aravanis, Jogapas, Shiv Shaktis, these communities existed openly with roles in temples, court rituals, even royal patronage. These identities existed long before Western colonial rule, but colonialism didn't just bring guns and governance, it brought gender. It brought Victorian morality. With it came strict ideas of male and female, normal and deviant. Colonizers imposed binary norms through laws, religion, and education. The British outlawed non binary and trans identities under Section 377 and labeled Hijras as a criminal tribe in 1871. In colonized Africa, indigenous understandings of gender were replaced by rigid Christian binary roles. Suddenly, gender diversity became perversion, and we never fully recovered from that legacy. Today, many people still think being non binary or trans is a Western concept. But in truth, the gender binary is the colonial import. Our diversity was indigenous. So the binary isn't ancient, it's important and deeply political. Let's step out of theory and into the real world. Non binary, intersex, and trans people in India face enormous barriers in daily life. Forms that only allow male or female, hostels that segregate by gender without any accommodation for trans students, job interviews where your appearance is scrutinized more than your resume. And yet, these identities are dismissed as confusion, rebellion, or worse, attention seeking. But the truth is, they aren't confused, we are, because our society still can't imagine more than two kinds of people. Let's talk about school now. Remember those boys and girls lines, those blue and pink name tags in kindergarten? Those weren't just cute decorations, they were the start of a lifetime of gender policing. If you're non binary or trans, school can feel like a battlefield. You're told which toilet you can't use. You're forced to wear uniforms that feel like costumes. You're bullied for using wrong pronouns. Teachers silence you because they don't know how to respond. There are almost no gender neutral restrooms in Indian public schools. Almost no policies to allow students to update names and pronouns on school records. And think about this: what's more political than who gets to sit where in class? Who gets to be seen as normal? There's a term I want to introduce here: misrecognition. It's when someone sees you and refuses to accept who you are. You say, I'm not binary. They say, no, you're just confused. You say, I'm a man. They say, but you don't look like one. This happens in homes, hospitals, classrooms, and this kind of violence of being constantly questioned, erased, renamed is exhausting. It's emotional, mental, and deeply personal because it tells you you do not exist. Misrecognition is not a glitch. It's the system doing what it was designed to do: enforce conformity. But people are not software. We are messy, complex, ever evolving, and no system that denies that can ever be just. Let us look around. In schools, uniforms are often divided by gender: skirts for girls, pants for boys. Sports teams are segregated, bathrooms are labeled. Kids who don't conform are bullied or forced to choose. In law, legal documents still require a fixed gender marker. Trans and non binary people have to fight to change their IDs, often undergoing invasive medical procedures to qualify for recognition. In healthcare, trans people face discrimination or outright denial of services. Intersex people are mutilated to fit the binary. And gender specific healthcare leaves non binary folks in limbo. In pop culture, movies, TV shows, and music often reinforce binary roles. Think of the strong male hero and the damsel in distress, or how queer or trans characters are often stereotypes, punchlines, or tragedies. In religion and family, traditional roles are sacred. Deviance is seen as sin. People are forced into closets, marriages, therapies, and worse, all because the binary must be preserved. And all of this is so political. The binary isn't neutral, it's a system of power. Let's bring it home. Think of the times you were told to act like a lady or man up. Think of school uniforms that tell girls to wear skirts and boys to cut their hair short. Think of trans and non binary people who have to fight to just be recognized legally. The gender binary doesn't just exist in textbooks, it lives in our families, schools, jobs, and temples. In India, non binary people still struggle to access government ID with accurate gender markers. In workplaces, gender is often tied to dress codes and professionalism standards. Coded language for conformity. And let's talk about gender itself. Why is it so hard to say they, them when we use it all the time for strangers? Why is he the default in legal writing? Why is women doctor still a phrase but man doctor isn't? The binary controls even the words we use to think. And here's the real question: who benefits from the binary? Patriarchy does. If women are framed as emotional, weak, and domestic, they're easier to control. If men are told to be dominant and aggressive, they're easier to militarize. The binary creates predictable roles and power hierarchies. Capitalism does. Because gender roles are profitable. Think about his and hers products: pink razors, men's deodorant, toys divided by gender, clothes, colors, even pens marketed based on gender. The pink tax is real. And what about queer folks? Once again, capitalism finds a way. Pride Month, rainbow capitalism. Trans people, marketed body transitions and beauty standards. Androgyny, high fashion as long as it's white and thin. But these systems don't want liberation, they want consumption. The binary isn't just upheld, it's monetized. But here's the hope: people are pushing back. In India, the 2014 National Legal Services Authority judgment recognized a third gender. It was a landmark step, but implementation remains uneven. Trans and non binary people still face violence, job discrimination, housing exclusion. Across the globe, young people are rejecting labels. They are identifying as non binary, gender fluid, agender. They are demanding gender neutral bathrooms, inclusive language, queer education. Artists are breaking norms, writers are reclaiming language, activists are challenging laws, parents are raising children outside rigid boxes. Social media, while toxic at times, has also given voice to the voiceless. Trans influencers, queer theorists, intersex activists are building community across borders, breaking the binary bit by bit. Let's get personal. When was the first time you felt confined by gender? Was it when you were told not to sit a certain way, to hide your period, to man up, to stay quiet, to play rough, to dress normally? We all carry wounds from the binary, some of us deeper than others. And while our experiences differ, the system that hurt us is the same. Breaking the binary isn't about becoming non binary. It's about imagining freedom for everyone. It's about letting people exist on their own terms, not in pre approved boxes. So the next time someone says, "Are you a boy or a girl?" ask or maybe pause and think, why does it matter? The next time you catch yourself policing someone's appearance or pronouns, pause, unlearn, expand. Because binaries are easy, but people are complex. And it's in that complexity that freedom lives. What does a world beyond the binary look like? Imagine a world where forms ask for pronouns, not just sex, Classrooms teach gender as a spectrum. Clothes are for bodies, not genders. Men can cry, women can lead, people can just be. This isn't utopia, this is justice. Because when you dismantle the binary, you don't create chaos, you create choice. You make space for fluidity, for honesty, for humanity. The binary is tidy, but humans aren't. We are messy, complex, ever changing, and that's not a flaw, it's a feature. If this episode made you uncomfortable, that's okay. That's where change begins. Let's unlearn the borders, let's redraw the lines, or better yet, let's dance around them. Thank you for listening to The Personal Lens. If this episode sparked something in you, joy, rage, curiosity, share it. Talk about it. Write to us at the email in the description. Do not forget to like, subscribe, and share the channel. Until next time, stay open, stay radical, and most importantly, stay unboxed. Do keep looking through the personal lens.